Good afternoon and the warmest of welcomes indeed to this afternoon's IOB Business Webinar. It's a pleasure to have you on here. My name is Ben and I'm the resident business coach here at IOB Business. Very much ready to present today's session to you. Very much looking forward to it. Okay, so just whilst we're waiting for everybody to join us there, if you could do me a very quick favor and just let me know in the chat box if you can see me okay and you can hear me okay, which is going to be important for just now. So before we get kicked off, a little bit about how these webinars run. Okay, so once again, my name is Ben. I'm the resident business coach here at IOB Business, and I run through these webinar sessions with you. Now, throughout today's session, it's important to know that if you do have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them. Okay, there's a Q&A box at the bottom there. It's a gray box. You should be able to see it at the bottom of your screen. And throughout today's webinar, you're more than welcome to ask any questions and indeed ask any kind of comments, suggestions, anything that you have that you'd like to know, understand. And indeed, we're also going to give you time to jot down any notes. Okay, so in between each of the three topics, I'm going to give you a chance to jot down any notes and indeed ask away, fire away with any questions that you might have for me on today's session. Okay, so whilst we are waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and get us set up. Awesome to see so many familiar faces on here. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's a pleasure to have you on here. A couple of new faces too, which is always wonderful. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us on today's session. Okay, now the conversation that we're going to be having today is all about why digital marketing agencies are a trending business right now. Okay, now this is an important thing that we kind of cover today because it's important that you understand the true potential of these digital marketing agencies and what they can mean for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch off my video. So you shouldn't be able to see me anymore, but you should still be able to hear my voice. So if I could please ask one more big favor and just ask you to check, drop in the chat box, can you hear my voice okay? And can you see the presentation up on screen? All right, cool, fantastic. So everybody can see the screen. Everybody can hear my voice. If you can, or if it stops at any point in time, drop it in the chat box. We'll run over it, see what we can do to get you going again, okay? So today's topic of conversation, why digital marketing agencies are a trending business and how you can get involved, okay? So your presenter today is myself. My name is Ben Porter Smith, and I'm a professional business coach, okay? Now, what I love to do is work with small businesses and help them to achieve stability and growth. This is what I do. This is what I love. And this is what I'm going to be talking to you about in part today. Okay, so three topics of conversation that we always cover today. Okay, not always these three specific topics, but if you've been on one of these sessions before, you'll know that we love to cover three individual points. Okay, so beginning with number one, the diverse digital sphere. Okay, digital sphere, kind of our own unique adaptation of the word, something that we're going to cover really in essence what this means. Okay, number two, the welcoming community. It's very, very important that we cover this because it's an excellent part to know if you already own a digital agency or if this is something that you're looking to do. And finally, the excitement of ingenuity. Okay, now a wonderful, wonderful topic for those of you that love to be creative, inventive, and develop wonderful new things. This is something that I really feel that you're going to be passionate about just as much as I am presenting it to you today. Okay, so let's get started with topic number one, the diverse digital sphere. Okay, point number one we have up for you today. Digital marketing begins with skill sets for novices and all the way up. Okay, so there does seem to be very slightly, occasionally, a misconception that digital marketing is only there for people that are absolute experts in the field of advertising and marketing. Okay, now what I can share with you is that this is absolutely incorrect. Okay, digital marketing can include skill sets for novices all the way up to those veterans and experts that we just covered. Okay, there's a multitude of different skills that can be applied and turned into services for prospective and current clients. Okay, now what that means without the jargon is that you haven't got to be a master of all things marketing and advertising in order to run effectively a digital agency. Okay, now let's say that some of the more novice skill sets are the ones that you can jump right into. Could be a little bit of social media. Okay, maybe you learn how to make a great Facebook page. Maybe you learn how to use a great routine when it comes to running the schedule for social media posts, getting attention from customers, prospective customers, okay, things like that. Now, It's not to say that it's a completely novice skill set, because it isn't. And there are some people who are very, very talented in this field. Okay. But this is something that should be looked at as we all start somewhere. Okay. Now, as long as you commit to your education and you allow yourself to develop over a timeline, you're going to find that actually it's not that crazy difficult to pick up some things that you need to learn in order to run an effective service. Okay, now if we're looking at the more advanced services that exist out there, some things like advanced search engine optimization. Okay, now I know that sounds like a lot of jargon. It's summarized or sort of shortened to SEO. Okay, and what that essentially means is there's people out there who work on really, really refining the ability of websites to appear in search engines. So if you were to use your favorite search engine, whatever that might be, you might search for a specific thing, such as advertising agency in London. Okay, so then the job of an SEO specialist would be to enhance this person's website, whoever the best or current SEO agency is in London. Okay, or whatever service they have, digital marketing agency in London. The job of the SEO specialist is to help that website get to the very, very top, so that when somebody searches for that term, they display for that search result. Okay, now you've got things like that. You've got things like paid advertising can be a little bit more complex. There's certainly more to learn in some ways, and the execution of which can be a little bit more difficult. So the salient point here is that digital marketing begins with skill sets for novices all the way up. Okay, so novice, early stages, beginner, kind of intermediate, like kind of medium, experience, advanced, very advanced, all these different stages. Some people never reach the very advanced stage because they don't need to. Okay, so there is virtually no age limit to who can learn and enjoy the business. Now, this is completely dependent on the person, and a misconception that I really would like to blow out of the water. Okay, because there is no age limit within reason, of course. Okay, that's why I say virtually no age limit. Obviously, somebody needs to be of an appropriate enough age that they've gotten their basic education in the schooling system and so forth in order to understand the basics. But really, I would say 16, 17 onwards, okay, they can start picking up these skills. Now, ironically, younger people these days, they naturally have a skill set for things that are digital. If we look at iPhones, iPads, MacBooks, other computers, laptops, gaming PCs, gaming consoles, okay, the generation that is now, between say 16 and 25 years old has grown up naturally around all of this software and all of this technology coming in since they were young children. So they've got a natural gift for picking up these digital elements fairly easily. Okay. Now, for those of us that are a little bit older, okay, we have the ability to look at this in other ways as well. Okay. You have life experience. You have marketing experience, whether you recognize this or not. You spent a long time around brand recognition. All of these things are also valuable in the digital sphere. Okay. This is why we call it the diverse digital sphere, because there's so much going on. It's such a diverse and dynamic element that there's so much to understand and enjoy. Okay. Now, you will naturally, as an older person, you've got more life experience, you'll naturally have an easier time understanding some concepts such as brand recognition, okay, because this is the day and age of marketing that you likely grew up in, where you were seeing billboards, posters, more traditional forms of marketing, shall we say. Okay, now brand recognition, something like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, you've probably seen those logos everywhere all the time. So you begin to see the importance of repetition, of brand recognition, of touch points, okay, consumer touch points. Now, these are all just as valuable as being able to use the technology in of itself. Okay, you understand really what the goal of a marketing campaign should be and what it needs to achieve. You'll understand the elements of what brand recognition really means and how it can encourage customers to buy. Have you ever seen an advertisement for Coke, went and bought Coca-Cola? Okay, chances are probably yes. All right, whether you realize that that's what you were doing consciously or not. It's a very interesting thing, is marketing psychology, consumer psychology. Okay, now the salient point here is that both elements can be taught. The experience and education of brand recognition, marketing campaigns, success levels, etc., can be taught to the younger generation who know how to use the digital stuff fairly easily. And for the sort of older generation, the digital use of laptops, phones, whatever, tablets, computers, that can all be taught as well. Okay, so there really is virtually no age limit to who can learn and enjoy the business. You could really be anywhere from 16 right up into your 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, I personally have worked with somebody in their mid 70s who was running a business using online things. He was using online marketing to grow his business. Okay, which really is a lesson in itself, that there should be no age limit to who can learn and enjoy the business. Okay, now there's a multitude of differing digital services and opportunities within the business side of digital marketing. Okay, so the multitude of differing digital services would be yours to choose from. Okay, so just to name off a few for you here, we have social media, we have organic social media and paid social media, we have paid advertising, we have website development, we have the use of software, we have software licensing, we have scheduling platforms, we have blog writing, we have SEO, we have SEO development, we have, what else have we got? All kinds, countless ideas, countless elements of paid advertising campaigns. Okay, we have video ads, we have single image ads, we have carousel ads, we have you're beginning to get the picture that the list goes on and on and on. So there's a multitude of differing digital services and opportunities within the business side of digital marketing. Okay, now really the key message here is to make sure that you understand you don't have to pick up all of these digital services, but it's such a diverse business model because there are so many different things that you can do that ultimately arrive at the same goal. Really, the goal of a digital agency is to somehow help another business or person gain more recognition in order to hopefully get a sale. Okay, now that's an extremely vague statement on what digital agencies do, but if you really had to look at how you would summarize the core goal of a digital agency, most of the time they are hired to pick up new customers and clients for other businesses. Okay, so your business model exists on helping other people get clients, more or less, sell products, things like that. Okay, so there are multiple different ways to reach this goal, all really with the same result. Okay, what's the point of SEO, search engine optimization? Well, it's to get your website seen. Why do you want your website seen? Well, so that you'll be seen by more people. Why do we want to be seen by more people? Because statistically, the more people that see our website, the more people we can sell to. Okay, so let's look at paid advertising. What's the goal of paid ads? It's to draw people to your website, your landing page, or your social media feed. Why? So that you can have eyes on your content. Why do you want eyes on your content? Well, because when we have eyes on our content, people know that we exist. Why do they need to know that we exist? Because if they don't know we exist, then they can't buy from us. Okay. Ultimately, we're arriving at the same conclusion each time. It doesn't matter what the method is. Really, the overall goal is to sell. We're just thinking of different ways to get to that end destination. Okay. So you see a variety of digital agencies, all the way from one-person bands up to large organizations. Now, the most common form in the kind of small business space, obviously, is one-person setups. And this is absolutely fine, because what will happen in these one-person setups is they'll learn the fundamentals of running a business, marketing, sales, finance, operations, and so forth. And then they will figure out a niche that works for them. So let's say that they want to be a social media digital agency. Okay, so they will run an effective digital agency with the niche of running social media campaigns. They'll refine the offer. They'll figure out exactly what it means for their clients or prospective clients, and they'll sell based on that premise. They'll then deliver a very specific service to cater to a very specific audience, therefore coming out ultimately with the fantastic end result, hopefully, of earning good money. Now, on the other side, you've got large organizations. Now, these large organizations can offer the same thing in greater volume. So say they have a staff roster of 10 people, and all 10 of those people are running paid advertising campaigns for their clients. Okay, they've got 10 paid ad specialists. Why? Because one person can only run so many campaigns. Okay, that's just human nature, physically impossible to run over a certain amount of campaigns. Therefore, if they want to grow, they need more people to do the same thing. Okay, reach a wider target audience and so forth. Now, you could look at it another way, that large digital agencies, they choose to sometimes diversify their service offering. So they're offering paid ads, they're offering SEO, they're offering social media. Now they need people to manage all of these things, okay? Now, occasionally you'll see a one-person band trying to do all 3 or all 4 or all 5 of the services that they offer. Generally, my personal experience, my personal advice, I would advise against that. Why? Simply because trying to be a jack of all trades really ends up in being a master of none, okay? So better to focus on just 1 or 2 services that you're really good at and offer these to people, okay? So that brings us to the end of topic number 1. I'm going to go ahead now and hit pause on the webinar. Please do feel free to jot down any notes, ask away with any questions. I've got one in there. Thank you very much. I will get that at the end of the session. And then shortly we'll be carrying on to topic number 2 for the day. Okay, excellent. So hopefully you've had a chance now to do that, and we can dive on to topic number 2, the welcoming community. Okay, now this is a big part that I talk about when it comes to really any form of running a digital agency, because the community, and you'll know this yourself from personal context, communities can be very, very empowering, very, very comfortable to be within, and often really offer a lot of help. Okay, so there are ever expanding communities of individuals and institutions willing to share and educate. For example, the webinar that you are on right now hasn't cost you anything to join, runs for about half an hour, and hopefully is adding value to your life. Okay, this is just one example of how the digital marketing and digital agency communities operate. Okay, it's ever expanding. There's more people coming in, there's more people willing to share advice, there's more people willing to share tips, there's experts talking from all angles. Okay, if you're just willing to look for it. All right, so there are ever expanding communities of individuals and institutions willing to share and educate. Now, by institutions, I could mean an entity, a business, an educational body. Okay, sometimes they cost money, sometimes they don't. It just depends where you look and what it is that you're doing. Okay, we say YouTube, for example, there's a community of people on there very likely sharing digital marketing tips right now. Okay, so there are, and it's not going to cost you anything, of course, to watch these YouTube videos. Okay, now there are ever expanding communities of individuals and institutions willing to share and educate. Why is that valuable to you? Because whilst you're starting and whilst you're running a digital agency, this is something that you very much would benefit from. Okay, this works as a roundabout of information being shared, and maybe one that you'll even contribute to yourself one day. Okay, but what this means is if you exist in a community where people are willing to share, help, and educate, you then give yourself a very, very good stance to develop and grow. Because if you don't know something or you need help, you have a team of people that you can rely on. Okay, so the digital community is very welcoming of all people at all skill levels. Okay, now obviously you're going to have to be a little bit savvy about this and figure out where you would slot in the best in terms of, if you're a complete novice and you know nothing about digital marketing, don't dive into an advanced digital marketing group or advanced paid advertising group, because most of the stuff coming across and coming out of the group probably isn't going to make a huge amount of sense. Now, in the past, there's a good chance that this has led to some kind of frustration for you, because if you have looked at this, not necessarily digital marketing, but in anything, right? Let's say gardening, for example, but then you join an advanced gardeners group and they're talking about the different types of soil and this and that. And all you want to know is how you can plant your flower bed. Okay, you're going to get confused and probably frustrated, simply because in that specific area, you haven't developed a skill set yet. Okay, but you will and you can. You just have to make sure that the digital community that you choose is welcoming to the, well, they're going to be welcoming of everyone, but you have to really make sure that the community that you choose to enter, say if it's a Facebook group, for example, that you're diving in at the shallow end if you're a beginner, and if you're an advanced individual in digital marketing, then you've got to make sure that you're diving in the more advanced end of the spectrum, okay, where the stuff coming out is actually going to teach you something. So digital community is very welcoming. The people at all skill levels, you've just got to make sure that you slot in at the right place at the right timeline for you. Okay, you don't want to dive into an advanced group as a novice, and you don't want to dive into a novice group as an advanced individual, okay, in this niche. Now, countless digital resources are easy to access or free of charge. Okay, so easy to access means that it's not being hidden. Most of it's very public. Most of it's very easy to access. Sometimes you've got to pay, sometimes you don't. It really does depend on what you want to learn, okay? But there are wonderful courses out there. There are wonderful bits of educational content. There's webinars just like these. There's blog articles. There's ebooks. There's so many different ways to learn. So something I suppose would be very valuable for you is to figure out the best way that you learn. Now, maybe you already know this from your school, uni days, if you went to anything like that. But really, we find that some of us learn best by listening, which would mean like podcast and audio content. Others find it easier to read and absorb. So that would be books, articles, any kind of reading format, essentially. Some of us prefer to watch video, okay? Some of us prefer to watch presentations. Some of us prefer to just figure out by doing, okay? Which would mean give yourself a mock-up environment, a sandbox environment, if you will, to just play around and learn with things, okay? Now, everybody has a different way of learning, and the digital resources that you look for should really be relevant to you. When you look to absorb information, it needs to be done in such a way that it's going to be beneficial for you. If you're somebody who prefers to learn by listening, such as podcasts, but you are trying to read a book you're probably going to find it a little bit more difficult to learn because it's just not the way that naturally you enjoy learning the most, which is absolutely fine. Of course it is. So countless digital resources are easy to access or free of charge. Okay, so we covered just a few free of charge ones there. This webinar, for example, YouTube is free, Google is free, depending on what it is that you want to learn. So social media is free. Social media groups are often free. Okay, all these different places that you can learn and take benefit from. So just make sure that you keep your eyes open, you keep an open mind, and you're looking for different places where you can pick up these resources. Okay, so if you select the right lead generation method, your clients can be your biggest fans. Okay, so what we mean by this is when you're looking at the correct lead generation method, you've got to make sure that the people that you're speaking to really would benefit and be appropriate for your service offering. Now, if this is the case, they're going to end up being your biggest fans because you're doing something so well for them, but you're also speaking to them in such a relevant manner. Okay, so if let's say your dominant market for your digital agency is startups and small businesses. Okay, so all of your marketing advice is based on how I can help startup businesses grow. Okay, now if this is what you're doing, startup businesses might begin to love the content that you're putting out. Okay, they might become your biggest fans because they say, hey, look at this person, look at this digital agency. They are absolutely smashing it. They're giving us so much beneficial advice, teaching us how to grow our business organically, teaching us how to grow our business with the finances. Okay, and guess what? If they really, really believe in someone, they really, really believe in the power that you have as a content creator in some ways, then it may just increase their chances of wanting to actually work with you, exchange money in exchange for something else. Okay, so never be afraid to share content because it could develop a huge group of loving and adoring fans of the work that you do. Okay, so once again, that brings us to the end of topic number 2. And very shortly, I will be joining you once again for the third and final topic of today's session, which we will do in just a moment there. Okay, welcome back. So let us carry on through today's session. Thank you so much for the question. I'll grab that at the end there for you. So third and final topic of today, the excitement of ingenuity. Okay, now topic number 3, the excitement of ingenuity. This really is about introducing and welcoming your creative side, okay, your ability to create new things. So this is such a wonderful webinar because we get to speak about so many cool things, you know, the welcoming community for one, but number 2, we get to discuss really where your creativity can come in. Okay, so the development of a major software platform such as Facebook is an exciting opportunity for you to learn and begin offering more. Okay, so let's say that you are tied into digital newsletters, you're on social media quite a lot, which is fine, many of us are. Now, the development of a major software platform introduces a level of creativity for you as well. Okay, now this is how we need to begin looking at things. Instead of simply reading an article and thinking, oh, well, Facebook's rolled out a new form of advertising, that's cool. What you need to be thinking is, oh, well, that's ingenuitive of them. So how can I make sure that I can be ingenuitive in my business as well? Can you introduce this new form of advertising that Facebook has? Can you be the first to the punch, essentially? Can you beat everybody else there? And essentially begin understanding what this new service or offering is from Facebook and how you can really operate that as part of your business. Okay, so if it's like WhatsApp advertising, for example, okay, if you were the first to catch on to this, you could go and speak to all of your clients and say, hey, look, we've actually just been informed that Facebook has rolled this out. Positioning very important here. Okay, the information wasn't exclusive to you, but if you say, really, we're the first to the punch, we understand this more than anybody else does right now, so we believe, and this is something that could be beneficial to you for XYZ reasons. Okay, it's an exciting opportunity for you to learn, begin offering more. Now, the reason that this is completely awesome is because it can diversify your business in ways that you didn't realize before. Now, the reason it should be fairly simplistic is because if you're one of the first people to learn about it, there's not going to be, hopefully, an awful amount to learn because it hasn't really developed and it's out of its own infancy yet. Now, if I've lost you there, what I'm really saying is if there's a new development from Facebook, because it's brand new, it's likely, hopefully, to be more easy to learn. Therefore, you can offer it to your clients and customers in a fairly easy manner. Okay, so major tech companies make it their mission to always improve, develop, and offer new and exciting options for service providers and consumers. Now, service providers such as yourself, Facebook know fine well that there are agencies that offer advertising on their behalf. Okay, they don't expect everybody who runs a Facebook ad to be doing it for themselves. They know absolutely, factually, that service providers such as digital agencies take care of this for their own clients, and they know this. All right, so they develop ways to improve this system, this setup for digital agencies that run ads on behalf of their clients. All right. Now, you as a service provider need to be clued up about this stuff. Major tech companies, not just Facebook, social media platforms, search engines, places like that, okay, they offer new and exciting options. One of which, like we said, was WhatsApp advertising with Facebook, okay? Facebook, they've absorbed WhatsApp, okay? They already on Instagram as well. Now, you've also got Google, okay? YouTube owns Google. Google owns YouTube. My mistake. Yeah, Google owns YouTube. So they really introduce forms of video advertising, YouTube advertising that can all be done within Google. Okay, this is great for service providers because it encompasses it all under one platform, easy for you to do and easy for you to offer your customers. Okay, now consumers operate in the same way, it's also beneficial for them, but most importantly for you as a digital agency or as a prospective digital agency owner, you need to be aware that as a service provider, you are going to get these cool things from the major tech companies. This is the excitement of ingenuity. Okay, so you're free to become as creative as you like within a digital space. This is something that you need to understand, is that you can really dress it up, run it how you see fit. It's absolutely up to you. And that's one of the wonderful things, not only about running a digital agency, but about being a business owner, period. Okay, just having a business means that you have a virtually unlimited format of creativity, how you choose to position yourself, how you choose to brand yourself. Okay, when it comes to running your business, how you choose to work with your clients, how often you want to see them, how often you want to step back from the business, how often you want to introduce new services. You can become as creative as you like. You can offer within reason whatever services you like. Okay, within the digital space, it's a wonderful, warm, welcoming community where people are so creative and so intelligent. Okay, some of the most intelligent people I've ever seen work in the digital space. Now, there are even options out there for digital agency owners wherein they can run businesses offering pre-made solutions to clients, meaning they themselves are consuming less time. Okay, so there are digital agencies that operate and run based on services that are already there. It's essentially a done for you package setup where they can license and they can sell software on a monthly basis to their own clients, right? Digital agencies can sell this to their own clients and essentially allow their clients simply to use the software, such as social media scheduling tools, for example. Okay. Now, if you put this in the hands of one of your clients and say, hey, that's great, I'm going to charge you some money to use that every month, please feel free to keep using it and benefiting from it, then really what work do you have to do? You set it up for them, you show them how to use it, you charge them monthly for using it. Other than that, you step away, you offer advice when they need it, and you just let it run. Okay, it can be so incredibly simple, very, very beneficial if you're looking to make your business slightly more passive. Okay, now passive essentially means you have less involvement in the day-to-day earnings, the day-to-day work, and you allow your business to run itself a little bit more. Okay, so that now brings us to the end of topic number 3. I'm going to give you a chance to jot down any final notes and fire away any final questions you might have, and I will join you for the recap very shortly. Fantastic. So hopefully you've had a chance now to do that and we can dive on to the recap. Okay, so recap, point number 1, if you're willing to learn, you can get involved, okay? This means that essentially it doesn't matter if you're 16, 65, 75, if you're willing to learn, you can get involved, okay? Now, in many different ways, you might not be able to launch a business immediately, but there's certainly no reason why you can't begin to develop knowledge around digital marketing, okay? There is a community ready to support you, okay? This is something, like we said throughout the webinar, you need to make sure that you pick the right community for you, but they are absolutely there and ready to support you. And finally, the digital world is creative. New things are released all the time. You, as a potential service provider, need to look at how this could be beneficial for you as well. Okay, so as always, a massive thank you for attending. If you would like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk-to-us. And then on there, you can go ahead and book a call at any time that suits you. Okay, you just use this calendar here that'll come up when you head to this link. You can go ahead and book in a call. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that link for you up on the screen there. And I'm going to pull up the questions that I have from you on today's session. All right, cool. First question is an awesome question. I see some digital agencies offering complex services. All right, so the answer here, okay, they're not your competition. You should offer what you feel comfortable with, what you feel confident with, and find your own crowd. Okay, so really what this means is if you see other agencies doing incredible things, within reason, do your best to ignore that. Okay. You want to watch them for the diversity and how it can be interesting sometimes to see how they operate. Please don't compare yourself directly to them. Okay. Whilst you always want to strive and improve, really the core goal here is to make sure that you're developing something that you're comfortable and confident with. Find a crowd, because there will be people who are interested in you and what you sell. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. Awesome. Thank you so much. Next question, where should I start as a complete novice? Amazing. So the answer here, research the differing services in digital marketing. Okay, let's say you begin here. Now, these can be things like social media, software solutions, website development, paid advertising even. Okay, now as a novice, that might be a little bit of a tricky one. But what I would strongly encourage you to look at is filter yourself through all the different digital services that are on offer today and figure out which one sort of suits best with you. Okay, begin with accessible resources, even look at just the free ones to begin with. Okay, to educate yourself. Now, this will take as long as you wish, really. The more effort you put in, the quicker you're going to break into the digital sphere, digital space, whatever that means to you. So if breaking in fully means running a fully fledged digital agency, offering one or more services, that's completely up to you, but it depends how much effort you put in, how much time you can commit. Okay, another awesome question. Thank you so much for asking. So if you'll allow me a moment, I'm just going to check if we've got any more questions on today's session. All right. Okay, well, looks like that is it then for today. So as always, a huge thank you for taking time to join us. It's been a real pleasure. And I very much look forward to speaking with you again a couple of weeks from now. Take care and bye for now.